Now this is the life.
Hey, didn't you go to Sandusky High?
Yeah, it's gonna be 9:48.
Weren't you gonna be some big rock star or something? What happened?
This whole gay thing, he thinks we can't deal, but I had a gay friend in college.
What's your paper on?
Stevie Nicks, unlikely godmother of goth.
Go, baby, go.
You should have more respect for yourself, especially someone your size.
Look, Grammy, big is beautiful. Haven't you heard? You're dismissed.
Stop, you're giving me wood. The goth nightclub Mother announces their Night of 1,000 Stevies to be held in New York City. This is in 4 days. We have to go to this. You have to perform.
Where are you guys going?
New York, New York. Gypsy's gonna be a famous rock star.
Well, here's to New York City. May all your dreams come true.
Really like your clothes. I'm dying to get out of mine.
Just my luck, and I'm just out of it.
Some of us don't care to be defined by our sexuality. Like I give a rat's ass about Judy Garland or Stonewall.
Do you think it's appropriate to dance in a graveyard?
I think that we should dance while we can.
I don't want to lose what we have.
Which is what?
Something sick and twisted that we both desperately need therapy for.
Poser. Kiss it all goodbye.
And welcome back to the Cult Cinema Circle podcast. My name is Jesse, and I'll be your host. Now, on today's episode, we are going to head out to the Night of 1,000 Stevies. We're going to put on our best goth wear, and we're also going to go dancing in the cemetery, because that's what you do nowadays. But with all that being said, though, today we're going to be doing a little film from the early 2000s called Gypsy 83. I do want to get it just out of the top, I guess, before I introduce my lovely guests. Yes, I'm aware that the term gypsy is maybe not the most appropriate word to use, so I acknowledge that. However, that is the name of the movie, and also it's the name of one of our characters, so I do just want to say that up front. But you know, that is what it is. But we acknowledge it, and I like to be aware of that. But as I already said, I have a guest on this show because I could not do this all alone. We're in the midst of our music month this month for Cult Cinema Circle. So you just heard last week we did Almost Famous. That was super fun. And now we're doing this movie, which is a little different. But I wanted to bring on to my show a lovely little internet friend of mine. He also has his own podcast as well. But I know he is a fan of Todd Stephens, the director. So I wanted to bring him on, and I believe he also enjoys this movie as well. But you have heard him on Video Dropbox. You also heard him on our episodes I did on Drop Dead Gorgeous and also on Cherry Falls. But please welcome back to the show, Josh Gorski. Hi, Josh. How are you?
Hi, Jesse. How are you?
It's so nice to meet you. Wow, we already met each other. Like, over Zoom.
I was gonna say once, twice, 3 times a lady here.
Yes, exactly.
Third time's a charm. Thank you so much for having me. And again, I just want to say, like, I'm super pumped for this episode because, as you said, yes, I'm a huge Todd Stephens fan. But also, I love Stevie Nicks, and I love music. I love music in general. Anyone that listens to my podcast knows that I go overboard by like citing basically every single song that's listed on that.
I love it
in the movie.
Oh, then you were perfect to bring on. Then this is great. This all worked out.
Yeah, it was kismet.
Yeah, it's kismet. So, what I want to know from you, Josh, because you are a tad bit older than me, perhaps, and so
I am.
I know,
kidding.
Right? So, by the time this movie was out, I believe you were out of high school, if I'm not mistaken.
I was in high school actually.
Oh, you were in high school.
2001. I would have been. a junior in high school.
So yeah. And so like what I want to hear from you though is like, okay, you said you love Stevie Nicks, so we'll talk about that, I'm sure. But like what I want to know from you is like, what's your experience like with this film, I guess, of Gypsy 83? Like when did you have first seen it? Like what was kind of your experience with it? And yeah, like what made you want to if anything, I asked you to be on this episode, but you know, what makes you want to come on and talk about it, I guess. That would be what I want to hear.
Well, great questions. So I'll be honest, I was late to the game on this one because I had obviously seen Edge of 17 first, but that was around actually, surprisingly, this time of year, because anyone that's listened to that podcast episode, well, spoiler alert, we covered an episode, Edge of 17, and that's Todd Stephens' first film. And in that episode, I basically tell my co-host Joe the story about how I wasn't out, but I was going to a private Lutheran school, and there was a girl I worked with at the movie theater who went to public school who was like, hey, you know what? Like, we got along really great. And she's like, I think you'd be really into this movie. And I was like, sure, what is it? And she suggested Edge of 17. And it had like changed my life after watching it in a positive and a negative way, because essentially she was outing me. Saying, oh, girl, I know you're gay. And by the way, you'll like this. And so she was right. But also I was, going through the struggle of religion and not being out yet. So I had a journey to get to it. But eventually I had come back to Edge of 17 much later after I'd come out, and fell in love with it. And that's kind of how then I rode this train of Todd Stephens into Gypsy 83. And so I have to be honest, I always knew it existed and I wanted to watch it, but I hadn't watched it until I would say like the last 10 years, which is crazy to say, especially since I'm coming on here to talk specifically about it. But yeah, I gotta say my first response, because I loved Edge of 17 so much, I was kind of underwhelmed because I was expecting something more like that, and it was different, but I still liked it. And then I will go on, as we record, to say basically my feelings towards this movie is that it gets better with every watch. Like there's something new you pick up on. There's so many iconic things within it. So I'm so glad that you invited me to come onto this episode to talk about this, because yes, like the music, the singing, everything is just so fantastic. The clothes, oh my God, the clothes, iconic. So yeah, that's kind of how I got to Gypsy 83. And did I answer all the questions?
I think you did. Yes. I think it was. And we'll talk about Stevie Nicks in a minute, because you said you love Stevie Nicks. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, no, I think that makes a whole lot of sense. And I do agree with you that I think, just having watched this movie twice now, it's like, I just think it's just a really fun little movie, and it kind of does exactly what it needs to do as the early 2000s like little gay movie, I guess. So that's always really fun. I think for me, like when I watched it, or when I first found out about it, was literally on a pod. Go listen to my episode on the movies that made us gay, where we talk about Beautiful Thing, also like fun gay movie, London, all that. And like, I remember they talked about it, and I was like, oh, say less. Like, what do you mean? Sara Rue's like a goth and like all these things, right? So I put it on the list to be like, oh, okay, I need to watch this. And then fun little thing, or I'm trying to remember, maybe they talked about it either on my episode, or maybe I had heard about it before or something. I don't remember. But it was at a time where when I actually started the podcast, I was a bit unemployed for a few months. And so one of the things that I found out about myself, which I think I already knew, but if I don't have like a job to go to in the daytime, or responsibilities to do or whatever, I just stay up all night. That's a fun little fact about me. And so the way I watched Gypsy 83 was I watched it in the middle of the night while I was also watching other things and just sleeping all day, whatever. And so and then I finally got a job and that changed, which was good. But that's what I did. And so but I was like, okay, let me watch this movie. Like, I think I heard about it on Scott and Pete's show, so let me do that. And I just was like, oh my God, this movie is so like, yeah, like this is great. Like, this is so weird. It's kind of just like we'll talk about it, but like, yeah, the Stevie Nicks of it all, and just like Sara Rue in it, and having like Karen Black in it, and like all these different things. It's so interesting, but I loved the core of it really. And I think I had either watched this first and then I watched The Edge of 17. I don't remember exactly, but I just remember seeing this, and I watched it on Tubi or something, and I was just like, oh yeah, no, this is a fun movie, and this is like just something that's kind of up my alley, and it fits in that sort of vein of those gay movies that we know about, right? And so like it kind of really helped that way. But yes, I did just watch this in the middle of the night the first time I watched it, which is kind of a great way of doing that, to be honest, I feel like. But yeah, so that was my history with it, at least.
Yeah, and then really that's one of the best ways to watch it.
Yes.
I will say, I think at first time I watched it was on Tubi as well.
Mm-hmm.
And now, again, watching it multiple times, like I have to say, like, well, one of my grievances that I always talk about is I'm such an impatient bitch when I watch stuff. So like I have a hard time sitting through commercials. But I was gonna say, like, watching it like all the way through like as it's meant to be seen does make it a different experience as well. Because I feel like the air kind of like deflates a little bit when you're watching it on Tubi because of those breaks. And I feel like it chops it up a little bit too much, where you're like, oh, this movie is just kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like with the breakneck sort of tones that happen throughout it, and then you have commercials added into it. So highly recommend, if anyone that hasn't seen it, try to seek out or just pay for the rental, because it's worth it. It's like $3.99 on Amazon.
Yeah.
And then, then you can go the Tubi route when you know exactly what you're going to watch. But for a first watch, you want to be like all in.
Yeah, I can agree for sure. But yeah, so I think that this has just like been our histories, if anything. But yeah, I think we can kind of get into some of like the figures of the film, and also just, get into our cast and crew and all that kind of stuff, and break this down in a way. But yeah, so this movie was released I would assume it's a limited release. It probably didn't come out in a ton of theaters, I don't think, but it did release in June of 2001, June 6th to be exact. This is at a 94-minute runtime, which I think is pretty decent. And this is from Palisades Pictures and Small Planet Pictures as well. I don't know what else they did, but okay, so that's them. I also have no idea what the budget of this movie is, but I would assume it is low. Even though they do shoot in like a little bit of Ohio, a little bit of Pennsylvania, like that kind of stuff. But like, it is interesting to just see like what they were able to do on probably a fairly low budget in that way. I would also not be shocked. I mean, it does have a opening weekend raking gross, but in particular, I mean, it came in at 101 with about $5,000. So that's why I say it was probably very limited release, if anything. And then ultimately only made $29,367. So, this is to be expected with these sorts of movies, because this is both a kind of gay movie because one of our lead characters is gay, but also, this is a movie about gothic people as well. Like, it's just something where it's not going to be for the masses, obviously, and so we're to expect that for sure. So there's that.
Yeah, my guess would have been that it was probably like a New York, LA situation.
100%. Yeah.
Because I think when we were doing the research for Edge of 17, it was very similar to that, where it was like the niche gay areas of New York and LA were the places that had like streamings or maybe festivals, and then that was it.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah, it was domestic like that. It came out not in a whole lot of theaters, I don't think. Obviously, it was probably very that. It even says on Box Office Mojo, the widest release was one theater. So you're probably right. It probably shot, or it probably honestly just, what's the word? If anything, actually, let me see. Hold on. So let's look. Came out in, what does it say? April. So I guess it was released whenever, but like maybe it like premiered in April or something, and then July. So that's what I'm seeing. That's where we're getting the 29,000 from. So Yeah, but even in this situation, like we have different movies, like, you know, I mean, this is at the time of like the Kill Bill sequel coming out. It literally came out the same day that this came out. You know what I mean? So like, it's gonna be a little different.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a little different. You know? Yeah. What else was here? Connie and Carla was out in theaters by this point. That's kind of fun. Good old Toni Collette.
Called classic.
Yes, of course. I haven't seen it, but I definitely want to though. And I'll probably do it on the show if anything. It's gay, kind of gay. The sequel for Scooby-Doo is out as well. Eternal Sunshine was still in theaters, which is kind of interesting. Bunch of things going on. Again, this is also 2001, like, you know, theaters and if anything, actually in July, what would it be with June? Like, oh yeah, because it literally has like the box office information. They have some in April and then some in July. So like, I don't know how this, but like you said, the release schedule of this is probably wild because, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, they'll just basically take whatever they can get, essentially.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. For sure. In terms of our Rotten Tomatoes scores, this sits at a 54% with about 26 ratings from the critics. And the critic consensus is this coming of age story of alienated youth is too familiar. And then the audiences gave it though a 78% with about 2,500 ratings. So I think the people who went on Rotten Tomatoes and who are saying if they like the movie or not, a lot of them generally enjoy it. So there's that, and it sits at a 3.4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. So yeah, and in terms of like, yeah, when you think of like, because you were at least a junior in high school, but like, yeah, in 2001, like, what do you think about when you think of like films at this time, or maybe what you were trying to see like as a young person? Like, what do you think of that if you had to explain that sort of thing?
Well, yeah, I'd have to think back of like what came out, because I mean, for my era, like at this point, it was sort of the tail end of the slasher craze as far as what I was interested in. So there were the weird movies like Soul Survivors that I really liked. That
Bad,
came out.
not good movie, but
Valentine, 13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
But like I think Mulholland Drive came out, which again was more of like an indie kind of movie. I mean, maybe it was in mainstream theaters, but
David Lynch, but still, how mainstream are his movies? Like, that's about as mainstream of a David Lynch movie as there could be. How about that?
Exactly. But I mean, it was a weird time for cinema, because we also got another movie that we've talked on this podcast about that you are not a fan of, or your friend is Get Over It, the Kirsten Dunst vehicle.
No, I like Get Over It. Antonio from The Cult Worthy does not like that movie. I don't think. I like that movie. I don't dislike it.
Oh no, I still have a soft spot for it.
The 21st
Vitamin C, Cisco, it's wild.
That movie is crazy, and I love it.
But how about one more just curveball that I remember also thinking was bananas when it came out? On the Line, starring Lance Bass.
Oh my God, Josh. I used to do a Patreon that didn't go anywhere, but one of the things I did was I wanted to do an audio commentary, I guess. And do you know what I did? I did it On the Line.
Oh, nice.
Why was I doing that? Like, what is wrong with me?
I mean, you definitely ahead of the trend, and probably like the only one that had covered it at the time, right?
I know, like, just doing a commentary of me talking about like the movie, or not even doing like an episode, like just watching the movie and reacting to it. It was a weird movie, dude. Like, oh my God.
Even now you're watching, you're like, cringe, just knowing that Lance Bass is gay. And that's not to say that gay actors can't play straight, but...
Yeah, he also just is I love you, Lance Bass, don't get me wrong, like, I love you. Listen, you were my favorite Backstreet Boy. Wow.
I'm
gonna just leave.
The NSYNCers are coming for you.
Gotta go. No, he was in NSYNC. He was my favorite member of NSYNC, for obvious reasons, although JC Chazé is also great.
I'm always forever a JC stan,
as
not
you
just
should
because
be.
We share the same name, but no, that voice.
Yes.
I never understood why everyone was on the JT Justin train, because while physically he was attractive, something about that shrill voice. I mean, he's talented. I'm gonna give him that, but JC could fucking blow the house down with that voice.
He also has his baggy jeans as his thug appeal. Okay, listen.
I mean, yes.
Like, let's be real.
He's got some cred. And he's
God.
even like, I mean, established that now with
First off, he's also still very hot, by the way. Like that as well.
Yeah.
Oh my God. He gives me, I've said this before because he was on Hot Ones with the band, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just saying, like, and I mean, listen, please cover your ears, Josh, or whatever. I know you're a married man, but you know, I will talk about it too in this movie. But like
married, not dead. Okay.
Oh, literally. But no, but JC always gives me like BDE. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
absolutely, 100%. I'm just like, oh no, like he's the hot one. Let's be real. Like he's really the hot one. You know, it's like, come on.
And very modest. And I have to say,
yes,
I wore. Can I curse? I don't remember.
Yes, of course.
Okay, I wore his fucking solo CD the fuck out.
As you should
be. Is still from start to finish a banger in my book. There are so many hits. There are so many songs. It's almost like 2 albums, and it just did not get the credit that it should have. Blowing me up for your love. Blow me up with your love. Is such a banger from Drumline. It's so good.
Hell yeah. Hell yes. Anyway, this is not JC Chazé.
We're sidetracking. So 2001 to your original question.
Yes.
It was a very weird time because it was still sort of doing this goth alternative thing like Gypsy 83. But also there was then the introduction because if you look at the TRL, I'm just going to the music standpoint.
Yeah, no, totally.
This is our music episode.
Yes.
TRL was all about like Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, Korn, all of a sudden, like left field.
Right.
And so it was these dynamics, like these battling dynamics. And so, it was definitely interesting.
Yeah, really interesting, like for sure. And so it's just like, yeah. And then also like we're on the tail end of like, we're still in the TRL, but like also like, it's just how this is all working out and how this is like still in the beginning of like, you know, downloading music and stuff and pirating it off of like LimeWire or whatever, like, you know, that kind of a thing that's like on the horizon. So this is like pre MySpace. This is like pre that sort of stuff, which is really interesting to me.
Well, and I want to point out too, as far as the queer aspect, like being gay was still very, I don't want to say faux pas, but very niche and not talked about because you got to remember, like Queer as Folk is like the most 2000s gay reference that I think of when I think of the 2000s. And that came out in 2000, which is 1 year before this. Right. So stuff like this was starting to come out because people were becoming more accepting and going to the source material where like, you know, prior to that, I think it was just kind of the like laugh at gay people, the Birdcage, as much as I love that movie, stuff like that.
Right.
You know, We Were the Joke and the Will and Grace kind of also started a little bit before this. So
yeah, absolutely. No, it's true. And it was still something where, again, not everyone was out, not everyone, it was still something that you didn't want to be. And it wasn't something that, you know, I don't know. It was just something that wasn't widely accepted. That's really it. So it's definitely, you know, makes enough sense that this movie, just like how Edge of 17 also didn't do great it didn't do great in terms of like mainstream, but it was never going to. So that makes enough sense.
Yeah. This era reminds me a lot of like these kind of movies hitting straight to DVD.
Straight to DVD, 100%. But yeah, so yeah, I think that's a good way to kind of go into the cast and crew. So the crew, we already have talked about a little bit with Todd Stephens. You have gotten to talk to the man as well, which is really cool. But he is, of course, the director of Edge of 17. Please go watch that if you have not done so. It's a great piece to also watch with this movie. And he also wrote another gay movie, which those are all parody movies really, but you know, if anything, you get to kind of, it's nice because he gets to poke fun at some of the stuff where he obviously is a part of having done some of that. So I don't think that's a bad thing. But yeah, what's your experience on Todd Stephens since you got to talk to him and your show and everything? But yeah,
so I still can't believe that he actually came on a video Dropbox and met with us, because here's the thing. Everybody, I'm sure at some point, with anyone, directors, celebrities, anything, you shoot your shot on, you know, social media thinking, no, they're not going to respond.
Right.
But like Joe and I had always planned on doing Edge of 17 as one of my Pride picks because we do Pride episodes.
Oh, yeah.
and I love it so much, and I have such a huge relationship with that movie. And so I was like, what better to then like see if the director would talk to us for like 5 minutes even.
Yeah.
To just talk about some of the burning questions that I had. And so I messaged him because the only place I could find him was on Facebook, of all places. Of course, man of a certain age.
Sure.
Makes sense. And he never replied. So we recorded the episode. Everything went by. And then it was like 6 months later, I get this random message in Facebook that's like, hey, I'm so sorry I missed this. I didn't see it until now, but I would love to talk to you about it if you still want me to. And I was like, holy shit. Like, of course, we want to talk to him.
Yeah.
So we catered an entire episode just around him.
As you should.
Talk about basically only Edge of 17, because while I would have loved to talk about his whole filmography, I was like, I just have very specific questions about that movie because I love it so much.
What was Leah Delaria doing in this scene? And what was happening in this? And like all that. Yes.
Yeah. So anyone that's interested, definitely check out the episode because I won't, drone on about it here.
Yeah.
Video Dropbox Podcast. And we talked to Todd and asked him just very specific questions. Like I even had to give shout outs about how I love the clothes and the musical prompts and his experience and all of it. So
he also loves a period piece too, which is interesting because it's an 80s movie and then this is a 90s movie.
Well, and you can tell, I think that's why I love these two movies, is because while Gypsy 83 may divert a little bit from his lived experience, you can still tell he's pulling from a lot of his own experiences because they have those Sandusky trilogy, I think is what they call it. Which is, Edge of 17, this, and then oh man, I'm blanking, but the Udo Kier movie. This is one of his last ones, Swan Song. That's it.
Okay.
But yeah, you can feel that they're very personal, and that's why I appreciate them, because like Gypsy 83 had to have been a real person.
Yeah, probably.
That I'm imagining that he wrote. And he's definitely basing a little bit of that character of Clive, I think, on himself or the Era character from Edge of 17. So
totally.
But I won't keep getting too far into it. We can go back to the actual.
You're fine. Yeah. But Todd Stephens, he seems like a cool dude, and if anything, like it's just and also being like a gay dude too, and like just doing his thing, like that's really cool, and making stuff that resonates with him, and it's gonna resonate with other people, I think. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Our composer is Marty Beller. He composed the music for Another Gay Movie and Another Gay Sequel, which I think I've seen both of these movies in some way, shape, or form. I think I've seen at least Another Gay Movie. I don't remember if I saw the sequel, but something tells me I did. But anyway.
They're wild.
They are wild.
Very different.
Yes. We have our cinematographer. It's a dual cinematographer credit of Gina Di Girolamo, and then also my is Condor. And they also did Edge of 17 as well. They shot that movie. And then our editor is Annette Davey. She actually edited My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, which I think was like the reboot. It's more recent, I believe, because they only had the 2 movies and then they had the 3rd one. Also had an NSYNC member from it, which is fun because Joey's there. And then she also did the movie Waitress as well, which then became like a Broadway musical, and it's based off of it's written by Adrienne Shelley. You can go down that whole rabbit hole if you wanted to about her, but there's that whole thing. But yeah, so is there anyone else on the crew that you can think of to shout out or anything before we kind of move into our cast and crew or anything?
Oh man, I did write it down. So, hold on. Oh, the costume designer is Kitty Boots.
Okay, I love that name, first off.
I know. And I mean, they have a pretty huge filmography, but I also love that one of the other costume-related credits is costume supplier Bear Shepherd, which I will get into it a little bit down the road. Why that person is significant, but I just want to give them a big shout out because the clothing and costuming in this is fantastic.
It's
and really
so good.
On point.
It's so good
for everyone, even Karen Black.
Oh, 100%, 100%. But yeah, so our characters, we have our titular Gypsy Vale, Sara Rue. But before this movie, she had been in Can't Hardly Wait as Earth Girl. So she's the one who's like, you are all sheep. Bah. Love her so much. She's also same year, I think right after this movie, she is the babysitter in The Ring, which is kind of cool. So there's that. And she's gone on and done all sorts of stuff now. I think she does like the little TV movies here and there. She's on Instagram being just like interesting with her children and her husband, like just doing the things. One of the things that I kind of like and I was thinking about with her, she then lost some weight too, because, she was kind of a chubbier girl, like, in Can't Hardly Wait, for example, and some of her other roles. And maybe, I guess, in this, but she was never like really big. I was just like, she's just whatever. But she's gone and lost weight, which is cool, great, lovely. Of course, it's going to make news like 10 years ago. Like, I was looking through that. But one of the things I was wondering about her is like, does she still have her lisp? And I was just like, I was wondering, because I was like, yeah, and I will say I watched some of her Instagram things. She's little videos here and there, and she does still have a little bit of it. So I was just like, that's nice, because that's one of the things that you can notice about somebody, I guess. Like, because she had it in Can't Hardly Wait, she has it in this movie, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, girl, you were on like 80 episodes of like Less Than Perfect. Like, how did you? Like, I don't know, it's really cool that you could like even be on like a sitcom and like you have this little lisp of yours, but you're Sara Rue, so it like kind of works. But I think even you said it, and I don't mean to take your thunder, but like I think this movie really shows that like, yeah, no, she's a great little actress. Like, oh my God, like she can lead a movie even. Like this makes sense to me. So anyway, if you want to go on your Sara Rue as well, but yes, I like this girl quite a bit.
Oh yeah, no, so fantastic. Actually, this is a deep cut, but the first time I remember ever seeing her on TV was this really bizarre sitcom back in the day, back in the 90s, called Zoe Duncan, Jack and Jane. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or
I've heard of
seen it. I feel like you can't even probably find it to stream it.
It was like a WB thing back in the day.
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
it? Yeah.
This is like the high.
She was also on Popular, by the way. She was on a Ryan Murphy show.
And then Popular was the next one that I remember seeing her in a lot. But yes, like I think she's so fantastic. Leads this movie really great, and I'm good for her for losing the weight and everything. But I don't know, like I kind of love like the whole message of this movie is like body positivity and just being who you are. And so I don't know, it just kind of makes me a little disappointed, unless it was for health reasons, obviously, or she's just trying to be healthier and happier or whatever. But good to know about the list, because I was going to say, I feel like that at least will be one characteristic and distinguishing factor for her and her performances that will be recognizable.
Yeah, I think she still has it a little bit. I don't know if she has it in her movies, but even just on Instagram, I'm like, no, she still has it a little bit. And I can hear it. I'm like, no, I see you, girl. It's just maybe because she's older now, but like, it's just something where, whatever. But it's something where I like it though. So
it's a little bit of a Drew Barrymore thing.
Yeah, a little bit. Drew had the lisp. She kind of grew out of it as she got older, but she still has it just a tiny bit. Yeah. I feel you. Yeah. But all the rest sucked. Anyway, we then have Burkett, or Ket Turton, who he is in. He plays Clive or Robbie, whichever one, I guess. But
interchangeably.
Yes. He is from the movie Saved, actually. He plays I don't remember the guy's, Dean is his character's name, but I don't remember the actor's name. But when Dean goes to Mercy House and he gets a little friend, that's Ket Turton, and he ends up being his little boyfriend, which is so super cute. So there's that. He's also in this TV movie with Will Friedle and Matthew Lawrence called HE Double Hockey Sticks, where Will Friedle, I think, plays the devil, I think, or something. I don't remember exactly, but it's one of those like ABC like movies that they had back in the day or something. You can probably find it on YouTube. But there's that. And then also for horror fans or whatever, I found this out and I had to message Josh about it. He will actually also be in the movie Keeper from Osgood Perkins that is maybe still in theaters right now. So, or at least you're hearing this in December, it might not be, but who knows? So yeah, if you want to go see Ket in like something now, you could go watch him there. So that's kind of fun. I didn't realize that. I looked him up on Instagram. There's like a fan page. Then I was like, I don't want to see the fan page. I want to see if he has one. And I was like, okay. And I looked him up and I was like, I found him. And then I was like, why is he doing it? Why is he like talking about Keeper? Like, I've heard about this movie. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, duh, Jesse, he's in it. Like, what? I was like, I thought that was like Tatiana Maslany, which it is. But I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's nice. But he was also in Riverdale, I think, just recently. So he's kind of kept up doing stuff.
I would say good for him because, again, like I haven't seen him in a lot of things other than what you just mentioned.
Right.
So I'd say 3 finger taps for him.
Exactly. I also do wonder, because he played a gay character, I kind of wonder if he's gay in real life. It's a little bit ambiguous in a way.
He's got the picture that you shared too is like a callback to Gypsy 83 with him sitting like moody on top of a gravestone. And so he's definitely like living, kind of playing up, I should say, that kind of alternative gay, goth, I should say.
Yeah.
Energy. So
absolutely. Yeah. For sure. But anyway, I thought that was kind of fun. Yeah. I sent you a photo he just recently posted. I was like, he knows we're recording. He obviously does. Yeah. Like, what is this?
We should have had him. We should have
messaged him. Ah, shit. Anyway, we missed it, but it's fine. Then we have Karen Black in this film. She plays Barbie LaFleur, I believe her name is, which is fun. She, of course, is from House of a Thousand Corpses. She's Mama Firefly, for those who don't know, I guess. But so she's like the matriarch of that family. I forget who the patriarch is. I don't remember. Not Otis, but like the Otis's father or whatever. I don't know.
Oh, it's like grandpa or something.
Yeah,
like
or something
that.
like that. It was like, yeah, exactly. But she was also in like other movies. I mean, she's been Trilogy of Terror, people would know her for. I watched recently Mirror, which I didn't like that movie, but she is in it. So there's that. She's kind of been all over the place, you know, doing her thing. She was in Nashville, which is kind of cool. I think is it Robert Altman movie or whatever that was. Like, yeah, so she's been around, you know, she's since passed away, but yeah, and I think her character is such an interesting one too, and we'll talk about her, I'm sure. But yeah, what did you know Karen Black from, I guess? Like, if you had to, like, what would you have known her for?
Definitely House of a Thousand Corpses, just because I mean that was the most recent thing that I had seen her in, but I also watched Mirror, so I mean that is one of the other ones most recently, but I know she has a huge filmography and is an iconic sort of like, I don't know, I don't want to say B-list actress, because
she is,
she's good in what she's, you know, in her performances, but they're usually kind of movies that didn't really get like a huge following. So
I agree, but I think that's kind of what makes sense to her, and for her, if anything. So yeah, totally. We then have the father of Gypsy, Vale. You know, I don't remember his name, but there's that John Doe, who is in a band of some sort. I don't remember exactly the band, but it's like a punk band or something, right? Which makes sense because he's a musician in the film. He's also in The Rage Carrie 2. He plays Rachel's foster father, who's like a weirdo. So that's him. And then also he's in Boogie Nights somewhere as well. So he's worked with Paul Thomas Anderson. That's kind of fun. So there's that. And then we also have Paulo Costanzo as well, who plays Troy in this film, the little fraternity guy. We'll talk about. He's in Josie and the Pussycats, and also he was in Road Trip because he's one of the leads in that movie, I guess, like kind of one of the co-leads. For the real ones, they know him for being the alien on Animorphs back in the 90s. So yeah, he's also, I think, Canadian. So that's always fun too.
Yeah.
And so is Ket, I think.
Another huge filmography of just like random movies that you probably heard of or seen at like a video store, but maybe not have watched.
Yes. And then also a little fun thing, because it comes from, I thought this was fun. One of the people, Stephanie McVeigh, she's in this film, and she's in the beginning part because she, I think, manages the photo hut that Gypsy works at, and she like drives up and she's just like, oh yeah, da 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 da. But you know who she is, right?
Oh yeah, Eric's mom
She's
from
Eric's
Edge of
mom from Edge
17.
of 17. And I think it's funny too because Todd Stephens did the little parody movies.
Oh
She's also
yeah,
in those. Like she's in one of those making fun of Eric's
recreating
mom.
the scene.
Which
Yeah,
is so
yeah.
funny to me. I was like, good for her. I love that. She has a sense of humor.
She's
Like,
definitely an ally for
oh,
sure.
for sure, for sure. I
And
love that.
also, fun fact, I saw this online when I was doing my research. She's credited as hairstylist on Gypsy 83.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, so
Isn't that
she's probably
insane?
like, let's do it.
Well, and I want to give one more shout out. I don't know if you had him in your notes, but Anderson Gabrich, who
Who's that?
played Rod in Edge of 17, is the
Uh-huh.
mean goth gay at the NYC at the New York nightclub.
Oh.
The one that's like, "You're such a poser."
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
It's
And then
it's him,
he's
but you would never tell because he's like got that spiked blonde hair and like
re-
all that makeup.
yeah, remind me that Rod guy, is he the one who's he again in Edge 17?
He's the one that takes Eric's virginity, who's like the
Oh, you're
douchey
right.
guy. Well, like the one that he works with, like at
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
the restaurant.
Yeah, totally, totally. Oh, you're right. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The one that they go back to his dorm room, is that him?
Yep, yep. Infamous
Yeah.
scene.
Okay, okay. He's not the one who rims him though, right? In the
No,
car?
that was just a stranger.
That was
Yes.
just a stranger. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
This is what we talk about, okay? This is Edge 17, everybody. You don't see the rimming or anything. You don't see that, but it's very interesting.
Compared to this is very tame. I would say
Oh,
to Edge of 17. I don't know, except for one scene,
except
but
for
that's
one
it.
scene we'll talk about, but it's
Yeah.
just, yes, I can agree with that for sure. Because also Eric is supposed to be like, isn't he out of high school technically? Like, and he's like
Yeah. He
kind
just
of,
graduated.
yeah, so he's like exploring himself, and maybe this was at a time where you could still go to a bar at 18. I don't know. I don't know how Ohio works, but there's that. But yes.
Can I give one more shout out to
Sure.
one more cast member? So there's Michael Cavadias,
Kevin Diaz, okay.
and he played
He's Hazelton in this movie?
Hazelton, yeah. So he's with the mean gays, but he's the one that's trying to befriend Clive.
He's the one with the little
Um,
lisp and so cute.
yes, and he's really kind. And so I'm pointing him out because he actually was in Wonder Boys, that movie with Michael Douglas.
Okay.
And so he's the one that's the cross dresser, basically, that's
Mm-hmm.
like dating Robert Downey Jr., messing around with him for a while. And then they have
Mm-hmm.
like a heart to heart in the front seat with Michael Douglas. So just
Love
saying,
that.
like, Academy or Oscar nominated film
Yeah.
actor that's also in Gypsy 83.
Oh, love that. Love that for him. And yeah, and I love his little character. He's so cute. Anyway, so there's that. Yeah, I guess if anything, like we could talk a little bit about like what Gypsy 83 is about. I guess if you had to give like a pitch of it, perhaps. I just remembered I kind of didn't ask like on my earlier recording we did, like I didn't ask to like pitch it to me or whatever, or pitch what this would be about. But yes, I want to hear your pitch. What is Gypsy 83 about, Josh?
I would say in a nutshell, it's basically like a coming of age,
Mm-hmm.
best gay buddy film, like
Yeah.
road movie.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Is essentially what it is. I mean, it's essentially these two characters that are stuck in their hometown on a travel across country to New York to get to
Mhm.
escape their life in the suburbs and
Mhm.
move on and find themselves in the big city.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it is. Generally, I have the whole plot here, but you pretty much explained it. On the way, they meet like a karaoke hostess played by Karen Black. They then meet an Amish boy who's running away from home. They then meet this like band of fraternity brothers, which is interesting. And so then they end up in New York for the Night of a Thousand Stevies because they like Stevie Nicks. And Gypsy finds out some stuff about her mom who ran away, to New York to follow her dreams. And, again, like you said, it's this kind of coming of age story and all of that stuff. Yeah. I kind of want to know, you don't have to go too deep into it, but I do want to circle back. Like you said, you love Stevie Nicks. I guess, like, what's the favorite Stevie Nicks song? What do you like about her? All that kind of good stuff, since she is kind of a example, or she's kind of a main part of this movie, if anything.
Well, okay, so I would say not just because they play it a lot in this movie, but Talk to Me is such a bop.
It's so good.
The Stevie Nicks song, and it really, I have to say, like, I don't know if you're going to get into it or not, but it's such a shame that she didn't give the rights to her music for this movie, because I think that if they were allowed the rights to Stevie Nicks, like basically
like her discography,
I think it would make it a completely different movie.
Yeah.
Even considering, like specifically considering like that opening, like as it opens, it's like this very sexualized kind of like alternative song, and you're seeing him like get Sara Rue like get ready, and he's helping her, and it's very sexualized, and I'm like, and then at some point it transitions to her like walking with like a headset and like a Walkman, and I'm like, the whole time I kept watching this, I'm like, I feel like this would have been like a Stevie Nicks song, maybe as she's like getting ready, maybe like Edge of 17 or something to like get pumped, but instead it's going there and kind of doing this thing. And it makes sense because I didn't mention it earlier, but I found an article that basically Todd Stephens had said, like, when he was going from Edge of 17 to Gypsy 83, he felt this like immense pressure to cross over and create a more mainstream straight film. Those are quote unquote his words. And so he said the industry's push to conform felt overwhelming. And as a gay man and filmmaker, basically my identity is inseparable from work. So he had a hard time kind of basically struggling. And I feel like when you watch this now with that lens, you can feel it. Because there's scenes like that in the opening where you're like, this feels like it's sort of this like straight male, like not but like it's appealing to straight men, but then there's like other gay things within it, so that's maybe why people didn't love it so much.
Right, exactly. I can agree with that. I think for me, like, I only have so much of a Stevie Nicks background, especially in her solo career. I like me some, like Fleetwood Mac and everything, so like Rhiannon and like Dreams and stuff like that. My one that I always kind of come back to, because I think it's one of her really good songs, and it's also in one of my favorite teen movies, is Sleeping Angel from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which was made for that movie. I love that song. I think Stevie is fantastic on it. When Michelle Trachtenberg died earlier this year, that was the song I put on my little post because I think it's just really beautiful. I think in Fast Times it's really beautifully used. So yeah, that's always kind of my thing. And God damn it, I wish that was in this movie, but it's not. But yes, that's kind of my thing.
So many hits. I mean, we could have had like Stand Back.
I know.
I don't know. Again, like Leather and Lace would have fit in there, but I am a sucker for that movie. Sorry, that song, Leather and Lace.
Yeah. Oh my God, it would have been great. Would have been perfect. I just love it. Like it's just something there. But yeah, I guess if anything, like we can kind of talk about some of these characters and maybe talk about some of these scenes as well. Like I guess for you, like we could talk about them separately, I'm sure, but like when you think of like Gypsy and Clive as characters, like what do you think of them? What do you think of these rascals? Like,
Gypsy I would just describe as a no nonsense badass girl who knows who she is.
Yeah, I would say.
And Clive is like thinks he knows who he is, but he doesn't because he's not experienced enough. And I love that dynamic because she kind of says that too, of like, I mean, even when he's like, oh, would you sleep with me? And she's like, yeah, I've outlived my like trial fag hag.
Yes.
Process, but thank you for thinking of me.
Exactly. Thanks for the thoughts. Right. Yeah, I can agree with that. I think Gypsy's an interesting character because she is somebody who is so, like you said, she's confident. She is confident in herself, like as her look, and also like she doesn't take shit. Like, when they're at the graveyard and they're in the little church area and the woman is being all like talking to her about like being looking gothic or whatever the hell, and then with someone of your size, and then she just pretty much like fucking reads this lady. I love it. Because she's just like, fuck you pretty much. And even when like they're in New York and like, Clive has this moment of kind of embarrassment, right? And she's just like, wow, like you guys are fucking rude, like, that kind of a thing. So she's confident in some ways, but it's really interesting because she's also not confident in some of her abilities too. Like she is somebody who loves Stevie Nicks. She loves this look of hers, and obviously she has her own kind of distinct look. But when it comes to performing and stuff, like she's not confident in it. And it's interesting to kind of see that. And I think also some of this maybe also comes from just like her having her own sorts of thoughts of, how her kind of lot in life is in a way. Like her mom left and now she doesn't know, and she has always had that question, right? And she's there with her dad. She's older now. She's 25 in this movie. So it's like she maybe feels stuck where she's at, and I think that's what kind of spurs this sort of road aspect of it, is like wanting to go and do this thing, and she'll go along with her gay friend, I guess, right? So there's that.
She's damaged is essentially what it is. Like
she is. It's interesting to see it though, for sure, because yeah. And then Clive, like you said, he is somebody who thinks he knows, and he is also confident in a way, like he is, because he's supposed to be younger. But the thing is that he also, again, has a lot of learning to do, right? He is still young. He's 18. That's what he is. And so he has this, idea of what the world is supposed to be, or how he wants to like lose his virginity even, and stuff like that. But like, oh, you poor baby. Like, not poor baby, but it's like, oh, you sweet doe-eyed goth boy. Like, the world's not like this all the time. But it's and it's also interesting too, because doesn't he say like something about like how he, like, I don't know if he worships Gypsy, but it's like he looks at her and just thinks she's so cool. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's kind of why their relationship is the way it is. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of a big sister thing, kind of, sort of, maybe.
Yeah,
but,
you were right. He does say, I used to think I loved you, but I realize now I just worship you.
Exactly. And that's what it is. And I think that's something where maybe we don't see it as much now, but like it is something to have, like, sometimes these relationships, and especially if they're of the same sex, sometimes they can be seen as like weird or predatory or something like that. But like, it's not even that. Like, I mean, it's interesting to look at this movie and then look at Edge of 17, and it's like, yeah, I mean, Leah Delaria in that movie is just, she's obviously a big old like lesbian, but like also she is Eric's mentor. She is this thing for him. And Gypsy is not all that different. She's different, but they live in the same neighborhood, I'll say. So it's like her and Leah Delaria. Like, it's just like, it makes sense to me. Because I'm kind of like, okay, yeah, they're both like taking this young man and kind of like, holding his hand through this life, which I think Todd is kind of both Eric and Clive in this situation too, which is interesting. So yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's just crazy. So there's that. I want to also hear, there's not much to her father, so I don't really know like what to say about that really. But like, what do you, I feel like you have thoughts on Bambi. I feel like I have a thought on Bambi, but what do you think about Bambi as a character, Karen Black's character?
Well, I remember thinking the first time around, like, what is the deal with this? Even like with that storyline and when they just take off, I'm like, what made her so mad? I was so confused. But now I kind of pick up on it a little bit more after watching a few views. It's like, because she's so fabulous and so fantastic that I'm like, why are they ditching her? And then I realized like, oh, it's all a facade. It's all like an act of, again, being this confident lounge singer of the past, but everything that she says to both of them is a lie about, oh, I made it big and I sold all these albums and I used to live in New York for 20 years. but then essentially Gypsy just catches her in a lie. Oh, and she also says, I don't drink. And then at some point, Gypsy sees her like pouring a drink from like her bedroom sort of dresser in secret. And so, yeah, it's just really interesting. Like, definitely gave her levels, because at first I remember being really upset at them for leaving her, because I'm like, oh, this sweet woman like is taking you in, and she's really interested, and she's obviously talented, and you're leading her on, and then they essentially leave her in the dust. But now I get it, and I think that's again talking about Gypsy's sort of personality of having that lived experience and being around people that are bullshitters and realizing it. And so I think that's exactly what it is Bambi's kind of a bullshitter.
You're totally right, because literally like Clive is just like, oh my God, she's like so fabulous, right? Like because he's young, like he just sees this woman and sees this stuff, but then Gypsy is able to kind of smell out the bullshit, like you said. And like, it makes total sense that she's just like, no, we're just leaving. Goodbye. Like, and also we're going back to Ohio, because what the hell were we even thinking? Like, you know what I mean? Like that kind of a thing too. So it's just, it makes total sense in that way. I think with Bambi, if anything, I completely kind of agree with what you're saying. I think she seems, if anything, like she's not harmful by any means, but I will say that she is somebody who, again, she's a bullshitter. She's somebody who talks this sort of talk but doesn't actually walk this walk, you know what I mean? And I also think like it's just that I don't know what would have happened if they actually took her to New York, you know what I mean? I don't know, like hell. So it's kind of good that Gypsy was able to sort of like be able to find that or be able to suss that out, if anything. Wasn't nefarious, but you know, it's just like, okay, girl. Yeah, sure, Jan. Okay.
No, you know what it reminds me of? It's just those like self-promoting social media presences online that like have these fabulously glamorous lives, and then you're like, how the fuck do you afford that? And then you realize like they can't. It's all smoke and mirrors, and it appears they do. And so
exactly, you're right. It's just one of those things. And I guess also because, again, kind of like Gypsy and Clive are our main characters, but we do have Zachariah and Troy as our characters as well. Do you have any particular thoughts on them by any means? Like, because again, we only get so much of them in the movie, but I kind of want to hear what your thoughts are on the boys in these movies that aren't Clive.
Well, I like that Zachariah comes off as a very sweet, innocent Amish guy that's trying to find himself and start over. And then ends up being, not that I like that he does this, but I like that at the end when he essentially just goes through all of this experience with the two of them, sleeps with Gypsy, and then decides, oh, you know what? I'm actually married and I want to go back to that life. That she calls him out and says, you know what? Just because you're Amish doesn't mean that you're exempt from being a complete asshole. Like, I love it. She reads him down and is like, basically like, you're just like every other fucking man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, die. Like, basically fuck off and die. Leave me alone. And always remember this.
Exactly. No, totally. And then also with Troy's character, it's like, you know, there's not much to it. They see him in like the little karaoke bar, they then see him at the little rest stop or whatever. But like just the fact that he's also just this DL dude, right? And like he ends up using Clive to kind of be able to get his rocks off and be able to, you know, deflower young Clive, I guess, right? But it's in a way, but it's just this thing of like, you know, but then he ends up being like one of the people who like fucking eggs them and like fucking like it's so stupid and like that's just so awful. And like it's just a thing of like, you know, wow, like, okay, this is exactly what this is. So it's interesting that there are these two sides of a similar coin, if anything, right? And it's just like, it's fucked up. But yeah, we will now, I think, talk about the scenes that scandalized me. Okay, listen, because
let's get into it.
Oh my God. So, okay. So first off, in this movie, we have the rest stop scene. It's like quarter to the end of the movie, right? They're not in New York yet, but they're on their way there. And so they picked up Zachariah as an Amish kid, and Troy is, like I said, on a little trip with his fraternity brothers, and they end up at this rest stop, I guess, right? They're drinking absinthe, first off, which I've never drank, but I do not want to. I think it's technically illegal, but I don't think I want to. I also don't drink, so there's that. But either way, they drink some absinthe because that's what you do when you're a goth in like the 90s and 2000s. And so like they drink this absinthe, they're doing whatever. So then, like you said, Zachariah and Gypsy, they go into a bathroom and they just decide to have sex, I guess, which is okay, on the bathroom floor, which I was just like, girl, what? Yeah. And you do see Sara Rue's gigantic boobs in this movie. And I'm just like, oh my God, okay. Yeah. So if anything, girl, maybe she lost weight because of them boobs. I don't know. Because I was like, those boobs probably hurt too. Let me tell you something.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Jesus Christ. So maybe that was part of it too. I would totally be like, girl, let me go to breast reduction or something, because this is a lot. Because by the time she had that little show with Sherry Shepherd and Andy Dick, that little sitcom, I feel like her bust had went down by then. So like I don't know, maybe, but either way. But I was just like, okay, so she's getting pounded out on the bathroom floor, right? I was just like, okay, like got it, all right. And then, so again, remember, I'm watching this at like 3 a.m. when I first see this. And I have this scene, which then cuts to, you have Sara Rue getting fucked. Then you have this kind of cut to these two young men, or these two men, who are standing like, you know, facing one another with their pants down to their ankles, and they're both naked from there, and they're just like going at it and whatever. And I was just like, I literally set out at like 3 a.m. I was just like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, what is this? And the thing is that I also cannot, it's done in a way where you see them. Like, it's not like you could be like, oh, that's their stand-ins or like a double or whatever. I was like, no, I feel like Paula Costanzo and Ket Turton just were bumping dicks together. That's what it felt like.
Gyrating, yep.
Like, literally, that's what it felt like. And also, the other thing is that I was just like, and again, you as a gay man with a whole husband and everything, and I was just like, and me having engaged in homosexual activities as well, I was just like, yeah, that's something we do. Like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, it felt kind of like, I don't know, honest, if anything. It felt like, yeah, that's something we do, I guess. Like, yeah. But I was scandalized a little bit, because I was just like, I know this is an indie movie. It's like it's not a mainstream movie by any means, so you can do a little something different with it. But I was just like, I hadn't seen that in a movie, really. Good for them. Good for her. Like, you know what I mean? I was just like, okay, cool. But yeah, do you have any thoughts on that scene or anything like that? That's the thing that's not tame to me, because I was just like, yeah, they weren't doing that in Edge of 17, but you know, anyway, yeah. Thoughts on that?
I think, like, yeah, going from, well, okay, you have to remember also Edge of 17, it's a very like gratuitous deflowering scene, but then also there's just the rimming scene, so there's a lot of that in it.
Oh yeah. But I'm trying to, you know what? I haven't watched Edge of 17 in a minute, so I'm trying to remember the deflowering like thing scene. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. Wow. It's
real uncomfortable, because it's essentially him being like, oh, like, is it basically supposed to hurt like this? And so, you know, and Rod's a piece of shit because he's wasted, and he's just like, oh yeah, just, you know,
oh yeah,
keep going, just keep going or something. You know, it's not that so many words, but yeah, right. So that's why I feel in comparisons, it's a little less like, I feel shocking to me, as far as just like that sort of, I don't know, wrong feeling, where this is like a right feeling, at least in the way that you're like, oh, this is kind of hot, actually.
Yeah.
Because you're absolutely right. Like, the fact that they're standing there doing this as two actors, and knowing that this is the era where there's no intimacy coordinators, and they're probably just wearing cock socks, but even so, you're still literally rubbing your dicks up against each other.
I still couldn't see it. So even if they had cock socks, I was like, they must have done a good job at hiding that, because it really does look like they are going at it. And I was like,
yeah, As pervy as it sounds, like that would have been one of my questions if I had asked anything about Gypsy 83 to Todd Stephens.
I don't think it's pervy because I think it's one of these things where like it's one of those things where it's like, so how the fuck did that scene happen?
Yeah, like what are the logistics of how you created that? Like,
not in a pervy way, not in a weird way. They're both of age, but still, it's like a thing of like, how the fuck did that happen? Because also, and this is not pervy either, I don't think either. Let me tell you something. People who watching this movie, especially young gay people, you already know, bitch. They was, rewinding, watching it. Like, come on now. Let's be real. So I don't think it's pervy, Josh. Don't worry about it. I got you.
This one specifically, because at least, with the Sara Rue sex scene, and it's worth mentioning, by the way, props again to the director, because we do see her boobs, but like that's it. She's got like a bottom on, and you see his full ass just thrusting into her. Right. Yeah. And so at least between them, I feel like because she's got a bottom on, it's kind of like there's space where they could maybe put something in between them. But this specifically, the fact that they're so close, they're so tight up against each other. It's crazy.
It is crazy. And I think that's why it, like, I know we spent so much time in the scene, but like, no, but that's why I think I was just like, because I literally was like, wow, I haven't really seen that in a movie. I don't think that's not porn. So I was just kind of like, oh, okay. And then it's the logistics of just like, how the fuck did they do that? Like, what, like, did these guys just like, what is this? Like, I just, that's what fascinated me, if anything. And it's one of those movies, like I said, like, that it is something where I'm not shocked if it's like the Fast Times at Ridgemont High, where people, rewinded on Phoebe Cates's boobs, right? Like, whatever. Yeah. We know that. But like, for a bunch of gay people, I'm like, 1,000% people probably did that. Are you kidding me? Of course they would. If you knew about this movie, like, yes, absolutely.
It definitely reminds me, again, giving a shout out to Queer as Folk, because this was sort of like my journey. It was part of my journey in coming out. But it reminds me a lot of the shit that they were doing on Queer as Folk as well. We were like, 100%. Oh my God.
That's a good comparison, actually.
Because that was where also straight actors, I mean, we're going to give Kat the benefit of the doubt and say, straight identifying maybe. I don't know.
You're correct, because I also watched all of Queer as Folk, just like how you may have had as well. But the only gay ones were Peter Page. I think he was out, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Who's in it. Lovely character. And then Robert Gant is also gay. I don't know if he was out at the time, who plays Hal Sparks's like professor, husband at some point. But there's that. But I'm pretty sure all the other actors in that, and not Justin, I think, is gay in real life.
Yeah.
So
I don't think he was out at the time.
I don't think he was either, because he was also the youngest. So I kind of get it. So it's like him, Peter Page, and Robert Gant, who Robert Gant doesn't come until later in the series anyway. So, there's that. But all those other actors were pretty much straight, who were guys. And then Thea Gill, who plays, I don't remember her name, but whoever she plays in that, she's bisexual. But Lindsay. I mean, yeah. But like Michelle Clooney is like straight, and like the guy who plays Brian's straight. Hal Sparks is obviously straight. So like, there's a thing that's like, oh no, like there were only so many people on that set who were bows. So it's like, it's just something where it's like, yeah. Now that you say that, it makes sense. I'm just like, yeah, no, that's where you would see something like that on premium cable.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, truly.
Sort of like those after hours, sort of late night HBO or Showtime, Cinemax, like that kind of stuff.
You were a teenager and I was a child, but don't think I wasn't also, when we'd have digital cable every so often, I was not watching Real Sex on HBO. The fact that it's not on HBO Max is very upsetting. And also watching some of those like, weird Cinemax movies where it's all boobs, all bush sometimes, maybe a butt, maybe a guy butt here and there, but never got no dicks. And I was very upset.
I'll never forget the time where, again, I was hanging out with my straight bros back in grade school, but this was like the era where like Clueless had just come out, and then shortly after, Stacey Dash, who is in Clueless, was in like this Skinamax type movie where you see her completely topless.
Oh my God. Stacy
I don't
Diamond
know.
Dash, what? Like, are you
Yes, I
kidding
don't
me?
know I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but I remember thinking like, because that was what all those movies were. It was like guaranteeing you like, here's this one person you
Mhm.
know, and let's see if they're going to be naked. Not that I was watching it because of
Right,
that,
right,
but
right,
of
right.
course, the bros won't watch whatever.
That is
But
so
like,
funny.
that's kind of, like that 90s, late 90s, early 2000s staple. And like you said,
Mhm.
yeah, of course I was watching secretly for like hoping for the butter,
Oh,
the
yes.
dick, the full frontal.
Something, right? Crumbs. And you would at least get it in real sex sometimes. You would get that because that wasn't porn. It was just like a documentary series. So,
Oh yeah.
talking about adult stuff, but like it was a little different. So, whereas those other movies, those little softcore movies, were made for the male gaze, which is fine, I guess. Whatever. That's what they're
Definitely.
there for. That's what they were made for. So, anyway, I think we've talked enough about that scene in particular in this movie, but it's because it's one of these things that just makes it very interesting to me. And I just am like, girl, as gay people, it's just like, yeah, that's just something where I was like, okay, wow,
Well,
cool.
and can I just make a point
Go
too to
ahead,
say
go
that
ahead.
even now I still feel like watching it, I'm like, as much as I'm so glad it's there, it does
Yeah,
feel really like out of left field that like, okay,
it
they stop
does.
fine, but then like, and there was Zachariah, okay, great, that makes sense. But then when they're sitting
Hmm.
around having absinthe and then Troy just randomly walks in and it's like late at night and he's all alone. I don't
Right.
know, that's the only part to me that feels a little like, huh? Because there
Hmm.
is no other interaction with him leading up to this until like there's that scene where they're at the bar and he's
Hmm.
setting up his frat boys to do some stupid karaoke I'm so sexy thing, and then I
Hmm.
think they just see them briefly, but I don't know, it just felt totally kind of like out of
Out of
left
left field.
field for
Yeah.
him to just wander in and be like, oh hey guys, what are you up to? I just need to get away for a
Hmm.
second. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be like you said, the DL aspect is maybe
Right,
we're
right.
believing that he's horny and he's trying to figure this, find Clive. But
100%. Yeah, it's just interesting how that kind of worked and like, yeah, how that kind of happened. And if anything, like, I hope if anything, Clive enjoyed himself, and that's all fine and well. But, it's like one of those things, it's like, I don't know, like, it's just something where it feels like I did for myself. Like, I don't think I lost my virginity until I was 18. And even that, I did it like on like, don't be me, kids. Okay. I went on like Craigslist and found someone because that's what you had to do back in the day. So thank God I didn't get killed. But that's just what we did sometimes, man. Like, that's just what we did.
hey, you know
Um,
what? This movie drop references AOL profiles.
oh,
So
100%.
there's another shout out to some ways that people are meeting
Oh
other
my.
people.
Oh my God. Yes, exactly, exactly. But it's just like one of those things where, but it was also just something where it was like, I don't know, it feels like a bigger deal than it actually kind of is, honestly. So yeah, it's just interesting how that kind of is. But again, it's a coming of age movie, right? It's supposed to be this and whatever. And I think it's also interesting when we have like we get to New York and they're in the big city and all this, but you know and finding out that like Gypsy's mom like died and she died of her own hand. She died by suicide. So it's just one of these things where it's like, and it's a nice kind of button on the movie, if anything, because I guess Gypsy is now able to kind of take any feelings that she had about her mom and the abandonment issues that she had with her or whatever, but it all kind of starts to make sense to her now, where she's like, oh, like she didn't get to do any of this, like she didn't get to live her dreams, right? Like she didn't get what she wanted, so like maybe I need to think that for myself a little different, because I obviously hate where I'm at right now in my life. I hate working this little photo hut, being in Ohio, like whatever. And I think that's where the wheels start turning. And I like the line when she calls her dad. She says like, "Hey, I found out like like my mom died. Like she died, but she killed herself. Like all this." And then she says the line, I believe, which is, "I'm your daughter, not your wife."
Hmm.
And it's this thing of maybe she's felt she has to stay around for her dad, but then now at this point she's like, you know what, maybe I need to do this. I need to do something for myself. I need to be able to at least try and see, right? And I haven't done it yet, so I need to go out and do this. And then she gets to write this little song that or I guess she maybe already had written it, and she gets to perform it, where she gets to talk about these abandonment issues and kind of put it in something. But I like that that's the growth we see for Gypsy, is that she gets to be like, well, I'll move to New York now, I guess, and I'm going to just try it and see what happens. And then, Clive will then come, once he finishes high school, I guess. But again, it's just in a place like Ohio at that time, I'm sure it's hard being a little goth kid. And when you're able to find your tribe, I think that's the big thing too, is like getting to do that. And so many people are trying to do. That's why people move to like New York City or Los Angeles or these different places.
Or Minneapolis.
Or Minneapolis even, right? Yeah, you're trying to get away from your like Lutheran ass school, right?
Yeah.
And like your community you grew up in. Like it's just a matter of like I want to kind of get anywhere away from here, I guess, or something. Maybe I can't go to LA or New York or whatever, but I can at least be like, well, let me go to a bigger city, so I'll at least have more options and I'll have more stuff to, I don't feel as, spaced in, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Totally.
I 100% agree. And I was going to say, like, I was going to ask, actually, going back to the dad,
Mm-hmm.
I made the note, is he the real villain of the movie?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
I only bring that up because there's that whole storyline about how the mom had written her poems, and like they had just assumed after the mom left she just left without saying anything, and devastated her because there's that whole talent show that she was supposed to go to, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And then they both agreed, Gypsy and her dad, that she had just died.
Yeah.
So they could move on. And then when she found out that she was still alive, obviously, and out there, she was like, oh, maybe we could reconnect and have this thing. And then the journey, like you had just recapped so beautifully, like, she finally had come to peace with it. But then, like, there's that twist where I feel like the person at the Night of a Thousand Stevies says, well, didn't you get any of her like poems? Because the whole time, I think part of Gypsy's damage is that she thought, oh, my mom abandoned me and doesn't care about me or love me. And she did leave and was shitty for that, but still cared and showed her affection. And obviously the dad was withholding those or destroying them, I guess, without telling her for whatever reason, maybe because he's pissed. And that's why I'm saying, like, is he the real villain? Because he seems just kind of complacent in their life, and he's sweet to her, and he's not overtly rude or anything, because he says things like, oh, everything I ever wanted is all right here, meaning like with her. Yeah. But in a way, I'm wondering if he was also kind of a reason why she wasn't like strong enough to go out on her own and find her mom or go to New York or something or make it. Yeah. She just kind of stuck with her dad, who's just like writing these songs and hanging out and doing his thing in this local town. So that's why I brought that up.
No, that's a good point. And I think that is a really interesting way of looking at that, because like he kind of is a little bit, it's like the Notebook for the Notebook, right? Like it's literally like, I wrote you a letter for a year or every day for a year or whatever, and then like didn't know anything about it. And so it's like a thing of, like it's just like that's very interesting. And I think that is something where he is kind of he is a little bit of a villain. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I can't even argue that. That makes total sense.
The more you think about it and you look at it from that lens, you're kind of like, oh, I like this guy, until the end you're like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah. And then also and like I said, she says like, I'm not your wife, I'm your daughter. Like, maybe I need to go out on my own now, and I need to try to figure it out, right? Because like this is not the place for me, and I've just I want to be somewhere else. And I think that's the other thing too about this movie. It's very much like finding your own tribe when you're able to find like, in your own town. It can be something, especially if you're a goth, right, or alternative of some sort, like, you can feel like you stick out like a sore thumb. And then once you're able to find other people who are kind of similar to you, have similar interests and all this, and it's like them being able to walk into the club and have this experience of seeing other goths and being able to know like, oh, okay, cool, like this is awesome. That they get to have that sort of they get to feel themselves. They get to be able to, not feel like a freak so much. And then it's interesting because we were talking about them earlier, but you have the little bitchy goths or whatever, where, they have this thing of like, instead of being a normal person and just saying like, Clive makes this mistake of not knowing who this person is, right? And he thinks it's like a band or something. It's more an author or whatever. And some of these guys are being catty, but the thing is the reason they're being catty is because they're probably jealous that their friend is like kind of hitting it off with this guy, right? Like that's the reason that they're being that way. Because really you could have just been nice and been like, oh, hey, actually that's an author and like you need to read her stuff or like whatever the hell, that kind of a thing, and not really make it more than something. But and that's why I like that Gypsy also stands up and says like, wow, like, you're fucking rude. like what the hell? He didn't do anything to you, like whatever. And plus also we give Clive a little bit of something because he is the youth in this, like he is the younger one, so he is somebody who isn't going to know everything. But again, like like I'm not going to be like, some people may be like, oh, poser or whatever, but like if you're an actual decent human being, hopefully you could just be like, oh no, this is what this is, like whatever, I'm not going to hold it against you, I guess, but like but that might be when someone laughs at you about it or like thinks that it's funny, because you just don't know, especially if it's something very well known in that subculture. So for sure.
I really like that kind of glimmer into the queer community and like that, like you said, sort of that learning experience for Clive, just kind of emphasizing even more so, like Gypsy's seen this shit before, but like Clive is having to learn firsthand, like you're fighting as a young queer person sometimes to just like feel like you belong and find your tribe. And then when you find that tribe, you also have the next phase of your development to realize, like, even when you find that tribe and you're find like-minded people that you really get along with, there are also mean, bitchy people within that community. There are mean, terrible gay people that do exist out there. As much as we talk about equality and unity and everything, like, they exist.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like, it's this thing of, yes, it's better to live out and proud and try to do that as you can, to not have to live a lie or live a sham. But it's also like, gay people are also rotted too. So it's not, but there are ones out there that are not rotted and that are cool and all this. So it's just like, I think that's what a lot of this movie is saying, is trying to find your tribe, and it's trying to grow a little bit, and I think I like that, ultimately Gypsy gets to have that moment of being able to, have her little twirling moment, right? Like at the end.
Oh yeah.
And it's like just knowing that like she's getting to do something on her own accord and she's not having to work at the photo hut, right? It was funny. I was watching and because I live in Maryland, of course, and we have the supermarket Wise is still a thing. And so it was just funny that like, because she's at the photo hut she works at is right near a Wise supermarket, and I was just like, oh, okay. Like, I also live right near a Wise too, so that's kind of fun. I don't go there really, like I go to Food Lion, but if anything, like it's just kind of funny because I was like, oh no, I've definitely gone to a Wise before. That's fun, that kind of a thing. But I just thought that was kind of, but yeah, it does feel like, this movie makes sense for people who, are coming from that small town, who are alternative, whether that be they're gothic or, gay or whatever it is. Like it makes sense that people would end up finding this movie on video and they feel a certain way about it when they, maybe watched it as a teenager or whatever. And it depends on how you look at hindsight or whatever it is, but it's like, I still think, even as somebody who watched it when I was like in my actual 30s, I guess, but like still watching it, I think it was still just something really, it's still a fun movie. Like, it's a nice coming of age film, and I think that it's cool that Todd Stephens gets to have, I guess, his little trilogy he has. I don't know about Swan Song, I've never seen it, but it's interesting that these two movies especially, I think, have definitely resonated with people in a way and have been able to kind of stand that test, if anything, or at least like be something people still like, which is good.
Yeah. And I think it's worth mentioning too, because I think I messaged you about this, but I saw through his Facebook, because he's still active, obviously, on Facebook. He did recut and do a director's cut of this, because they did a restoration 4K, but then they also, I guess, have a director's cut of this, which I'm really like chomping at the bit to see, because I'm wondering, one, if they tried to get some of the music this time around from Stevie Nicks, and then two, if they didn't, how much different things would be, because like we said, instead of that straight male view, I'm wondering if it's gonna cut out some of that stuff to make it more of a queer experience.
Yeah, I kind of wonder, like, you messaged me that, and I was just like, what kind of director's cut are they going to do? Like, that kind of a thing. Is it like, yeah, I just wonder about that. And it's interesting. I feel like I do need to try and find this somewhere on physical media. Is there an actual 4K out that I can find, or is that something that they show in theaters?
I think it's just like on digital.
Damn.
Meaning they dropped it on digital, but based on what I didn't even know too, that they did a similar thing, not a director's cut, but a similar thing with Edge of 17, where there were a lot of scenes that were left on the cutting room floor, and they re-released the DVD and included them, and put it on Blu-ray. I feel like they're probably have the same thing with Gypsy 83, which I'm dying to see, like, what would they have cut, because there was some significant stuff in Edge of 17. So.
Yeah, totally. There's be more there, and it's just kind of wondering, like, what else could they have done, I guess, because, it'd be interesting, I guess.
Yeah. We'll see if the bathroom scene is extended.
I don't know, man, like, or whatever else they have. Like, it's interesting, because I guess that's what's kind of cool about Todd, is that because he's working in an indie, sphere, like, he doesn't really have to worry particularly about being able to have to cut out stuff, which is why people remember his movies like Gypsy 83 and Edge 17 as well. They remember it for having these different scenes that are like, oh, that's a little, like, not I don't know, uncomfortable, but like people remember, like, when Eric gets like his ass ate, like, in the car or whatever. And like, people remember like this scene with Clive and Troy or whatever. So it's just one of these things where it's like, but that's just part of when you grow up as a youth, I guess, especially when you're a gay youth. It's like trying to find things, and when you're able to find these things, it's like, it's really cool at that some point. It's being able to feel a little sense of something when you don't have something. That's why it's better to have, I don't know, it's a matter of, do we have good representation, or do we just have representation at all? Right? You know what I mean? Whether it's good or bad. So it's like kind of a thing of I just think that this movie for sure is something where I would like more people to be able to watch it or see it. And I would like to see, a physical media release of it, especially with boutique labels and stuff and whatever, that they can maybe do something with it. And I don't know, this is something where, just like how there are these certain gay movies that people kind of like to have or want to watch or whatever, I definitely like this one in particular, and the music of it really, to kind of tie back to Music Month that I'm doing. It's this thing of like, because there's not much in the terms of music here, because Stevie Nicks wouldn't let it happen, but it's definitely something where it's like a major part of it because of, Gypsy's family and like, just what she's doing and all this sort of stuff. And but I just think, like, I would want more people to see it, and I want, people to kind of have that in the pantheon of gay movies where they can be like, this is one you need to watch, just like any of these other ones that people talk about or whatever. So
Well, it's worth noting too, Sara Rue sings in the movie and her voice is incredible, I think. It
Yes.
sounds very Stevie.
Yeah.
Sounds very Stevie Nicks. But there is a CD out there, actually.
Oh,
I
really?
think of this. I don't own it, but I looked it up because I mean, we do get a few needle drops of like the Cure songs, and then we
Right,
also
right.
have there's like a Bauhaus track because of course we're doing the like
Goth, right.
alternative goth route. And then I think the Karen Black song because she sings as well in the movie.
Right.
But yes, this is a great episode to cover for Music Week because
Music Month.
the live. I'm sorry, Music Month because the live music alone, between Sara Rue and Karen Black is just fantastic.
No, totally, and I just think like this is just a movie where I just want other people to see it, and I want people to know about it, and like it's like a fun little, it's not a musical, it kind of is though, like kind of, and it's just all these different things, and I think it's just a little underrated because people don't know about it all the time. And not that my show goes out to the hundreds of thousands of masses or anything, but for the people who do listen who may have not seen this, you definitely should. And it's just something, and it's also just really cool to see, like, I don't know, like Sara Rue and like these different people getting a chance to have this to be able to have this movie under their belt and be able to do that. So yeah. Is there anything else you can think of to talk about with Gypsy 83 before we start to wrap up and all that?
Well, I just want to emphasize, basically just perfectly, in my opinion, captures the early 2000s like gay alt scene because just again a personal experience, like this is when I was kind of on my journey coming out, not quite out to a lot of people. I remember going to a club that someone had like said, "Oh, you got to go to this 18 plus night," because I just turned 18.
Right.
And so they dressed me up because they made, had the very 90s look, kind of goth. They did like eyeliner and stuff. I had no idea where we're going. I thought it was a goth bar, and it ended up being slightly goth, slightly for the EDM dance community, but then also very queer. And I have to say, like, living that experience, like, it was incredible. Like, I mean, now I feel like things are very segregated and like kind of just like you go here for gay, you go there for straight, you go there for, like club heads, whatever.
Yeah.
But this really did feel like firsthand, like this communal experience. And so I just love this movie for that reason too, is that it perfectly captures like that movement as it was kind of fading out and moving into something else.
Yeah, I can agree. I think it's something where, it's just, I mean, because I wasn't clubbing back in these days, my days were more in the 2010s, I guess, when I could. But it was definitely something where even in that time frame, it has also changed as well. And it's just something where, like, being able to, I don't know, have these gay bars and all this, and, and it's just also, well, for the time being, I guess, it's a little bit more accepted, but is it now really? Because has it just gotten worse now? I don't know, especially with how we're living right now. But it's like, it's always a kind of a reminder that, like, we are still around. We will always be around as queer people and gay folks and all this stuff. So it's just a thing of like movies like this. And I think it was, I think Trixie Mattel had a video where she talked about all these different like pride movies, like, or whatever, on her channel. And, she kind of made the both, I think, true point and also maybe a little morbid point that, like, because of how our politics are happening right now, like, some of these titles could be going away. I don't know. Who knows? So, like, let me make a list of these things you probably need to watch. And so Gypsy 83, I think, is definitely on there somewhere, because it's really cool when you can have a, director, writer of this film be in, be doing that as a gay person. These are obviously very personal stories of his, and I think it's that much more important to then uplift and talk about these movies, for better or worse, like, whatever. But it's this thing of being able to have that sort of I want to have something out there to be able to talk about these films because again, you know, queer media could be not around a whole lot now for right now.
Yeah.
And I always just want to keep that in mind. And, you know, again, like, you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility. So I always want to make sure that's why it's important to have physical media. It's important to try to have these things it's important to have these things to be able to then curate them and have that. That's exactly why I need to also probably buy like Paris is Burning on physical and like a couple of these other things where I'm just like, oh no, we need these things. Okay. Like we need to keep this going, baby. Like, cause we don't know. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally.
Huge. Totally couldn't agree with you more. And then also I was going to say, it is kind of crazy to think about, given what you just said. Some of the throwaway scenes, like where they go to the gas station and there's that lady that's smoking a cigarette that has that super deep voice.
Oh, I loved her.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah. She's fantastic. She might even be credited, I think, in the credits as like Acid Wash lady.
Wash. I love that. Oh my God. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, because well, they're in Maryland for Bambi, so like they're there. So I'm like, oh, this makes total sense.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But my sad point, I guess, is that even though yes, they're iconic and we love her because she is just like
a mess,
a total mess. It's scary to think that, to your point, that there still are people that look and sound just like that, still that are still projecting that same like negative energy.
Yep.
So
still a thing. So it doesn't go that much away, everybody. You know? So
just under the surface, but
yeah, it is. But it's just one of these things where I think this is, if at anything I can talk about these movies, then that's always really good because it just curates them and is able to then, you know, give people a chance to know about them and to also love them, I guess, you know, or enjoy them for whatever they are. So.
And if anything, this movie will give you some great retaliation against people that throw any sort of homophobic lines at you. Because one of my favorites that I wrote down from Sara Rue was, "Listen, you redneck beer gut pig fucker."
Yes. Oh my God. Amazing.
Yeah.
Put it in the Louvre. It's amazing. But yes, totally. I think that's everything I can really think of when it comes to Gypsy 83. Go watch this movie. It's on like Tubi. It was on Criterion Channel for a minute. So if you have that, you can go watch it there. It shows up every so often. I would even rent this just for fun, you know, why not? And yeah, I just think this is a fun little movie that I think, like, if you're a fan of gay movies or you're a fan of like some of the people in this or whatever, like, you know, go, or if you're a Stevie Nicks fan, I'm sure you may have seen it, but if you haven't, go watch it. I just think it's a good time, and just I think it's definitely worth your time and a watch for sure. So there's that. But Josh, thank you so much for coming on my show to talk about this film. I'm very happy we were able to include this in our month of music movies and stuff. So that's always nice. But yeah, if you want to tell people more about your show, Video Dropbox, and maybe plug what's coming up, I guess, or however you want to do it, plug your show and talk your shit. Love to hear about it.
Well, thank you again for having me. I always love chatting with you. We have a lot in common as far as movies and music, so I really appreciate the opportunity.
Of course.
But yeah, I'm just one half of the podcast Video Dropbox. My co-host Joe Larson and I go each week basically challenging each other to pick a unique section of the video store to basically pick a movie for our following week. And so it's a lot of fun because we come up with kind of these unique sort of genres that
categories
sort of have
and
a play.
stuff.
Yeah, I have a play on like movies that we love, but then we also have one in the hopper in case the other one can't think of one in time because we give each other a minute. But yeah, you can check us out. We do have a Instagram page, so we're just at Video Dropbox Podcast on Instagram. And if you feel compelled to email us at all, you can find us at videodropboxpodcast@gmail.com. Right now, we're working on some of our Christmas episodes because naturally, Christmas is right around the corner. So I don't remember when you said this is going to air.
December. So like
December.
Middle of December.
Okay. So Joe just challenged me to, well, not challenged, but basically announced, because for Christmas we actually just pick a film to watch, Christmas related. So we're actually covering our first Christmas pick is the He-Man She-Ra Christmas special, which is technically a movie.
Okay, nice.
And I've never seen it, but we've talked a lot about it and wanting to watch it together. And I have, again, a long history with She-Ra Princess of Power, because those were the first action figures. I'm going on record saying they were action figures, not dolls, that I had as a kid. So this is a tell, me as like a very young kindergartner playing with all these She-Ra action figures.
Right.
Should have been out then, but took me a while. But anyway, so yes, I have a long love and history for She-Ra, so I'm excited to get into it. And also, it's just we like to do the non-typical Christmas films.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So be on the lookout, everybody, for Eyes Wide Shut coming on the video Dropbox podcast.
I mean, I have considered it, because one of the funny things is like I shouldn't say funny. The last 3 years that we've done Christmas picks, I've done sort of these sad gay Christmas movies. So my first one was Happiest Season, which I think is an uplifting gay movie. It's the lesbian movie with Kristen Stewart.
Yes.
My second one was the Jim Parsons, spoiler alert. It was the one where he's with his partner and he loves Christmas, and basically his partner develops cancer and dies. So that was a super sad bummer one. And then I'm trying to think. And then the last one I did was the the Dan Levy movie where his partner died.
Good grief.
It was Good Grief, yes. His partner didn't die. His partner died, was leaving him, and then also died.
Yes, I think so.
So that was my trilogy of sad gay movies, and I might switch it up this year.
Right. Oh my God, I love an unintentional Christmas movie, because shout out to like Night of the Hunter and like other little movies like that, where I'm just like, yeah, there's a little bit of Christmas in here. That's fun. Like, it's a good
Joe
time.
and I love Go, and I mean, technically that's a Christmas movie.
No, that's a great Christmas movie. That is a fucking great Christmas movie. Oh my God, it's like not. Well, actually, honestly, Go might be a Christmas movie for me now, because I like that movie. I don't own it on physical, but goddamn if I'm not going to watch it on Christmas. And then also the other one, because it's a New Year's Eve movie, 200 Cigarettes. I own that one, and I'm just like, fuck yeah, it's so good. Like,
it's a great double feature for the holidays. Just
it's a really good
cigarettes.
Oh, it's so good. Oh yes. Anyway, but yes. All right. Well, that sounds super fun, and I like that. So please go check out Video Dropbox. And I would also love to come back on your show. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. But yes, because why the hell not? But yeah, and with my show at least, I mean, obviously you can do all the things. Follow me on Instagram and Blue Sky at Cult Cinema Circle. They'll all be in the show notes. Give me 5 stars, 1 to 2 sentence review, all that kind of fun stuff. Do the same for Video Dropbox. If you want to email me, cultcinemacircle@gmail, all that fun stuff, right? So with this, we have started off on Music Month. We did Almost Famous last week, so we have that. And then we did this week. So I decided, okay, what else are we going to be doing this month, right? So I decided I wanted to also pull up on another, it's kind of a gay movie, but not really. But it's gay trash, I feel like. I decided I wanted to pull up on a little film from 2010 that is a film debut of one Miss Christina Aguilera, and I decided that I wanted to go and watch Burlesque from 2010. So that is what we are doing next week, and that'll be super fun. It is Christina and Cher, damn it. So
gay rights right there.
Oh, so good.
Can I just say
gay rights and air rights.
And yes, and air rights. I saw that in theaters when I lived in LA, and I have to say that was the best place to see it, because of course the audience was primarily gay. And I have to say my favorite moment in the entire screening was the part where Cher sings "You Haven't Seen the Last of Me," and then as soon as she's done and the lights go off and she's in the dark, I heard this one gay guy just so seriously out loud say, "You go, girl." It was the most fantastic
God, I love
my life.
God, I love being gay.
I was just gonna say, I was just like, this makes
it's so good.
Gay worth living for.
It's
honestly,
so good.
So enjoy that, because I love that movie.
I shall. It's gonna be great. But yes, but with all that being said, everybody, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to Cult Cinema Circle. I really appreciate it, and I will catch you all on the next episode. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.